Crash and burn.
Hey everybody, so tonight I am looking to discuss Skinny Puppy's 10th album, I think, and that is Mythmaker. This came out around 2006, 2007. I love the artwork. I love everything about it. That cool little like slipcase thing that you got and it slid in and out, and I thought that was super fun. My issue with this record is that the songs are just too soft. The vocals, I don't know, they belong more on like an Ogre album than they do on a Skinny Puppy record. I like the abrasiveness in Ogre's voice. I like that sort of like how he spits out and he's got that gravelly concept, or that gravelly, why did I say concept? He's got that gravelly aspect to his voice. These vocals are more subdued. They're a little more quiet. They're not being whispered or anything, but it's almost like Ogre's talking more than he's singing, and it's cool. But it does unfortunately sort of create a sense of sameness to everything. Like the songs just come and go. There's nothing to sort of jump you up, make you think, holy fuck, I'm taking notice of this. It just seems like boom, and the record is come and gone. So I don't love that about the album. And other than Magnificent, which I think is the album opener, the rest of the songs, I just don't really connect with them. I feel like, I don't know, they're just too well behaved. When when I think of Skinny Puppy, I think of that sort of like controlled chaos. Like how despite their records being sometimes like for example, off the top of my head, like you take Vivisect, just off the or Too Dark Park for that matter. And despite the fact that these albums came out a million years ago, if you played them for somebody who was looking for something sort of hard and chaotic, it would pull it off. There's no sense of anything being dated with Skinny Puppy's material. But this record, unfortunately, it does sound very mid 2000s electronic ish, kind of. Whereas, like I said, with Skinny Puppy's other stuff, it doesn't matter if you grab something from that they released back in 84 or 85 and you put it on now, it still sounds crazy and sort of like out of control. There's no aspect of it where a person who'd never heard them would say, oh, yeah, this is crazy for the 80s. Like, you know, you can tell where that while music has evolved and things have gotten nuttier. No, Skinny Puppy stuff, they're just as abrasive back then as they are now, and they're just as abrasive now as they were back then. Their classic era stuff is still sort of crazy personified in like album form. And I really love that about the band, because when I think about, well, pretty much any other band that I've ever loved, but for example, the Nine Inch Nails, like if you compare Pretty Hate Machine to anything they did afterwards, Pretty Hate Machine sounds kind of dated. It sounds like the record came from the late 80s. And of course, it was released in 89, if memory serves. And it's fitting. Like, Pretty Hate Machine's a great record, but it does sound dated when you compare it to everything else the Nine Inch Nails eventually sort of evolved into. But with Skinny Puppy, it's almost like their evolution is working against them here, because all of their older shit sounds like crazy Skinny Puppy stuff. But then this record, and even like Handover for that matter, and Weapon, they've lost the nuttiness to a point, and it's like they've sort of like reined things back in for some reason, which I would imagine it was just time for a change and the band just didn't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again. But this record's kind of nothing. And I'm not saying that to insult it. The last thing I want to do is insult Skinny Puppy, but it does feel so subdued. It's so, I don't want to say quiet either, because the record is definitely not quiet, but I don't know. The craziest this album gets is sort of aping off like the whole IDM thing that like groups like people like Aphex Twin or the Venetian Snares were doing, and in my opinion, they were doing it with more heart. It seems like Skinny Puppy got late to the whole IDM game, because this record again came out, I think, in '07. And Aphex Twin had sort of established that sort of squelchy, sort of broken up breakbeat thing in the Square Pusher and a billion other people I can't think of naming right now. They were already doing it like a decade before. And I think it's cool that Skinny Puppy sort of got on the IDM bandwagon, and they did a really good job, but it just feels like they're kind of late to the dance. and it's not really Puppy's thing. Skinny Puppy had always been really abrasive, sort of analog based, like industrial music. And I know that, of course, the analog thing will give way to going digital, and there's nothing wrong with that. But this record's almost too digital, maybe. And the songs, again, they're just, there's too much, there's a sense of sameness to them all, and they just, boom, the record's come and gone. And I don't really find anything to go back and continuously listen to over and over again, other than Magnificent, which I absolutely love. But it is, maybe it's me and I just couldn't connect with the rest of the album. But I don't know. This record leaves a lot to be desired, other than the artwork. The artwork is absolutely amazing. But yeah, I think actually that's where I'm going to leave it, because I don't want to sit around bashing things, especially not things from Skinny Puppy. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little over 6 minutes while I discuss Skinny Puppies. I think it's their 10th album, and that is 2007's Mythmaker. Like always, if you like this review or you like this record, don't forget to go and do something nice for somebody. But most importantly, nothing else matters if you don't feel good. So don't forget that the world is a way better place because you are in it. And whatever it is you're going through, just don't let go, because the song will change and you will start to feel better. I'm getting out of here. Have a good night.